Hey gang, it's your boy. And welcome to a little bit of a different video. So, what we have here is one of my son's Christmas gifts from 2019. It's a PlayStation 1. This one is the revision 9001. So it's, I think, one of the last original PlayStation Fat Boys. As you can see, it's used, of course, and it's a little bit grungy. So what I'm going to do over the course of the next couple videos is clean it up and make it look like something that you'd want to unwrap. So I found the perfect gift wrapping box, or the perfect box to wrap it in. And as you can see here, the controller, sorry, I bumped the camera. As you can see here, the controller is kind of dirty, kind of grimy, kind of gross. See if I can get close on the buttons here for you without killing the focus. Yeah. Could be better, right? Could be cleaned up. If I pulled this out of a Christmas gift, like look in there. That's just disgusting. If I pulled this out of a wrap present, I'd be like, that's gross. So I'm gonna take this apart. I'm gonna clean it up, clean the contacts, make sure the buttons are nice and springy and responsive. I have tested this unit. It does work. I've tried it on a couple of games, Tekken 3 specifically. I tried to put a burn disc in, but it's not modded yet, so that'll be another video. I did also get a memory card used, of course, because they didn't have any new ones or any originals, but that just meant it cost less. The memory card had, what did it have? Crash Bandicoot on it. It had Final Fantasy 9 save states, which I wasn't interested in, and something else that I can't recall. But I saved the Tekken setup data for the inputs and all that good stuff, and set it to autosave, so that's all ready to go for Boxing Day, when my boy and me are going to have us a Tekken 3 deathmatch, or whatever. As you can see, PlayStation's in pretty decent shape. Everything works, like I said. I'm going to do a little bit of an ASMR moment here when I open this. Hopefully the mic picks it up. It's got nice return on the lid. It does have a little bit of a grind when you push it down, so I'm gonna have to clean out in this area here. As you can see, that's quite nasty in there as well. This one has the metal sheathing, so there's no issue where you have to turn your PlayStation upside down to get it to work anymore. So that's why I like that I got this revision, even though it doesn't have the I/O port in the back. And there's one other thing. I got to take this apart because see if the mic can pick it up. But when you turn this thing over, there's something inside of it. I don't know if you heard that. Hear that? Yeah. There's something in there. So I got to take it apart, find out what that is. Hopefully it's nothing important. Hopefully it's just a little piece of crud. But I'll be taking that apart and making sure that isn't a distraction either when he opens it up. One other thing about the controller I don't like, I do have a DualShock 2. As you know, this is the original without the dual sticks. But it looks like that this was repaired at one point. Perhaps this got pulled off, or the I forget what these things are called. But this is not supposed to be on here. I don't know what this is. I think it's metal. Freaking hurts when you flick it. And somebody put a zip tie on here to stop it from sliding back. So this has been repaired already. But as you can see, that's pretty dirty as well. And I'm going to have to clean all of this, including all the cables. And eventually I'm going to get a replacement, eventually I'm going to get a converter to change it from the PlayStation AV multi-out to an HDMI converter, so that it can be played on newer to updated televisions without any of the distortion and screen scaling issues that playing it on a newer TV will bring with it, just using the AV cables included. But I'm gonna switch cameras while I'm disassembling and starting the process of cleaning the controller. So you'll see a different angle and a different video quality, but I'll switch back to this mobile camera that I'm using right now to bring it back to the final completed project. Here we go. Alright, so we got the PlayStation. As I said, it's got something in there, and I kind of almost want to take this apart first, but I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to focus just on the controller and the memory card for now. So, to clean this shit up, I've got some disinfectant wipes just for, you know, the major surfaces and to get the grime off. I've also got some rubbing alcohol and some Q-tips to help get into those hard to reach areas, and got some containers to put the screws in. They're coming out of here. There's quite a few little components in one of these. I haven't taken one of these apart before, but it looks pretty straightforward. Famous last words. So first we're going to take it apart, and I'll probably speed up the video for anything that's a process like that. So for this you need a Phillips screwdriver. I wouldn't recommend anything too big, so we're going to start with, maybe not that size, about like a medium-sized Phillips. See how that goes. No, that's too big, so use a smaller one. Broke the seal. Here we go. Oh, the amount of crap that's stuck to the end of these screws is disturbing. Alright, so that's all the screws out. Like I said, I hope that this is all in shot because I'm using my B camera, which is kind of a older potato. So, let's take this, crack this open. Alright, so we got the backing. It's not too bad inside, so I don't think this thing's ever been opened. The screws didn't look like they had any signs of abuse on them. So we got the two trigger buttons down here, which are loose right now because there's no pad backing it. So we're going to take these out so that we can clean in and around these trigger buttons. Triggering. Okay, we're going to be careful getting these out because I don't want to break any little plastic tabs. But there's the button. It's going to have some gook on the outside of that, so I'm going to put it in here with the screws for the buttons. Does that make sense? Get this one out carefully. There we go. Okay, so that's that piece. Now, some people will just soak these, right, in hot soapy water and then go over them with whatever abrasive, gross, whatever. I got some shit on my hand from that. Oh god, that's disgusting. So they'll go over it with like some sort of toothbrush or other sort of brush. So I might do this just for this backing part because it's got all the deep crevices in the back, so maybe that'd be worth it to soak up. So I'm gonna go do that. I'll be right back. Alright, so I guess I'll just do this on camera. So here's my hot soapy water. Here's the backing. Just gonna drop that in there. There we go. I'm gonna let that soak, do its thing, put that away. Okay, so now that we've got that started, water there. Let's go ahead and take out the rest of the internals of this thing. So we've got the trigger buttons here and shoulder buttons, so we can just take these out. Connected by this very old feeling ribbon cable. So I'm not going to bend that too much. and take these buttons off, and to do that you have to squeeze these two little plastic tabs together right here on the back until this housing is freed. Pretty easy to do. There we go. We've got a little rubber membrane there that's going to be packed full of crud. Let's put that in there with the other button. And does this just pull out? Oh, there's a little tab in there too. Okay. See if we can get that with the screwdriver without breaking it. And they just clip in, yeah. There we go. So that's all free. I'm gonna soak that stuff too after we get it all out. Not too bad. Nothing broke. Yay! Alright, so we're gonna pull out the PCB, which is keeping all the buttons and everything in where they need to be. And we've got the cord here wrapped around a couple of screw pegs. Posts, whatever you want to call them. I guess they'd be posts. I don't fucking know. Oh, started swearing already. Okay, here we go. Let's pull this out. There we go. There's the circuit board. Looks fairly clean. What I'm going to do though is go over these contacts with some rubbing alcohol and some cotton swabs. So we'll do that afterwards. Let's just focus on getting the plastics all out and the membranes all out. So we got the D-pad membrane. There's going to be some schmutz in there. We've got the little orientation holder. Uh-oh. It looks like this pad, I'll get that membrane out for start and select. This pad is cracked, as you can see right there. And it's full of, disgusting, disgusting biological waste. So I'm gonna, I'll crazy glue that back together after it's cleaned. And this little orientation bracket. Okay, and then here we got the membrane for the face buttons and the 4 individual face buttons. And oh my god, the amount of little tiny pieces of crap that are falling out of this is disgusting. Okay. You know what? I might as well just soak this half too. It's pretty goddamn gross. I don't want to go out of focus too much, but as you can see, there's a lot of, or you may be able to see, there's a lot of crap in here. So let's soak this also. Alright, let's switch back to the PCB. I'm going to clean some contacts here, which is pretty easy to do. You just get yourself some rubbing alcohol, pour some into the cap. You don't need much. And you get yourself a cotton swab and just go over the contacts gently and just remove anything that's built up on there, right? So they're fairly clean. I mean, the fact that the D-pad was cracked down the middle kind of pisses me off, but I think that we can fix that without too much trouble. There's some discoloration there, as you can see on the, as you may be able to see on the tip of the cotton swab here. Okay, let's clean the start and select. Look at that. Nasty. Okay, let's just go back over these. There's more grime, it seems, with start and select than there is on the D-pad. Let's get a fresh cotton swab and move over to the face buttons, which I imagine should have some grime under there. Some dead skin, some Cheeto dust that's accumulated and broken down again and again over time. And lastly, after this one, we're going to be turning our attention to the shoulder and trigger contacts. Clean and clear and ready to go, just like Clearasil. Alright, put that down there over top of the PlayStation. So let's take a look now at our assortment of buttons and membranes. I'm going to fish out the screws that were used to hold down those shoulder buttons here, because there's only two. And I'm going to soak this in warm soapy water as well, just to kind of get things loosened up. We got to prep this D-pad. We're going to have to do some restoration surgery, and I think I'm going to have to find some sort of scouring brush. I don't have any old toothbrushes because that's gross to hang on to that kind of thing, but I do have some nail scrubbers that I could use potentially, as long as I'm gentle with the D-pad. We should be able to glue that back together. Not too worried about the D-pad because it's all held in place by the casing of the body of the controller itself. So I'm just going to go throw some hot soapy water in this. I'll be right back. Alright, and we've got our buttons and various parts sitting in there. So I think we're done with the Q-tips for now. Throw that out, and I think we're done with the rubbing alcohol in general. So get that out of the way. Now, while we're waiting for this to soak a little bit, let's crack open the PlayStation and see if we can find that little piece that's knocking around in there and get rid of it. Alright, so we've got that to the side. The amount of crap that's laying on this table right now is just disgusting. Filthy. Gross. Alright, so we'll get our PlayStation back here. Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, it's got a little bit of grime around the power and the open button, but other than that, a little bit of schmutz built up around the ports, and of course on the side vents. I have to get in there with some sort of perhaps paper towel that's soaked, or those wipes, maybe with a piece of cardboard on the inside of it. But let's take this thing apart and see if we can find that loose little bit and get rid of that annoyance. So these are bigger screws, so I feel comfortable using this Master Crap screwdriver. Also, if you've been hearing some wind noise in the video, I really do apologize, but there's quite a storm going on right now. But I'm going to get these out, and then we'll see what it looks like inside. And this thing has been opened before. You can tell there's scarring on the screw heads. So somebody's already cracked this thing open once. So I don't feel bad about doing this now. Alright, I was expecting to see another screw there, but I already took it out. So, let's see. Flip this back over. See if we can lift this up. Watch out for any attached wiring. Nothing? Okay, good. Okay. So the inside of this thing looks like it's alright. Don't really see a need to take apart any of this mechanism here. And as you can see, somebody's left a little mark in here. Let's see. There's a bit of schmutz built up around here. There's obviously the laser. And, oh, what was that? Did I already get rid of it? Something fell. Okay, let's see if we can suss out where this noise is coming from. There's our opening. I'm going to have to clean all that out later. Put that to the side. Alright, let's see if we can find this thing that's... There it is. What is it? I don't know if you can see that. It is a very, very, very small piece of black plastic. Perhaps some sort of mounting bracket. Don't know what it's from. Maybe later on when I put the mod in, I'll be able to figure it out. But I'm going to keep that and hold on to it just so that I can find where it goes on the board later when we do that part. Got a couple of hairs, some gross stuff in here. See if we can just put some air on this. I'll be right back. Okay, well, I was trying to get some of this stuff off of here. That's gross. I could hear there's something else in here sliding around. Before we get too crazy with this thing, I'm going to unplug this because it kind of fell off a little bit. So this is just inserted into the board. I don't see any security clips holding it in. So let's just pull that out. There we go, and pull out this little connector here. There we go. So the orientation of it's pretty self-explanatory. Looking to see if I can find where that little piece of black plastic came off of while we're in here. I don't see anything that would indicate what that was from. I'm just going to set this aside and see if we can figure out where this other sound's coming from. As you can hear it, it's in there, whatever it is. Love the sound of things rattling around inside when they shouldn't be. Now this is got a main board and a power rail. I don't want to touch any of that, just in case. But you know what? Let's do this. See if we can discharge any of that power before I accidentally hurt myself. It's still in there. I can still hear it. Waiting for it to... It's like trying to get a pick out of the inside of an acoustic guitar, almost. Let's see. See if we can get it to come on out, whatever it is. There's just maybe a little plastic clip. Now, the reason I don't like something loose around in there is it could be shorting out anything if it's sitting on the board and it's metal. Don't know if it's metal or not, but hopefully we'll be able to get it out of here. I kind of want to take off this heat shield. Okay, let's see if we can shake it out without taking that off, because I'm not ready to do mod work yet. I don't have any of the parts. And I'm not experienced enough with my soldering iron yet. I need to do some more practice, maybe on some broken electronic toys or something, before I try and tackle anything like this. Come on, wherever you are, get out. Demons, demons out. Huh, well, whatever it was is gone. Kind of upset that I didn't see what it was before it skipped away and out of my life. Oh, there it is. Another piece of that black plastic. You know what these look like? These look like the little clips that hold the CD in. There's 3 of them. And there's 3 spots for those clips right here, I think. That could be it. But like I said, I'm not sure. Anyways, let's put this back together, and then we're gonna fire it up and make sure it still works. Now that we've got all the wigglies out of it. And it's got hair. Disgusting. Yeah, it looks like it's fully seated. Alright, let's get the top back on this thing. Now that we've got our little black plastic bits out of it. Let's make sure everything looks like it lines up correctly inside. It does. Love that sound when it closes. Dunk. It's the thing about newer console hardware is that there's none of that mechanical feel to it. Everything's got a disk drive or a SD card that you insert Sorry, I was just double checking to make sure that all the little bits were gone still. Okay, a little bit of free advertising from where I bought it. Okay, that all looks good. I'm gonna go plug it in my kid's room to his TV, and I'll shoot that on my camera. I'll shoot that on my mobile device so that you guys can see it. It's still working, and I didn't kill it. Fingers crossed. Alright, so I'm in my son's very messy room and just turned on the TV. I hooked up the PlayStation. Let's see, we've got Tekken 3 in there. Man, you cannot see anything in this room. The lighting is so bad. So, we've got Tekken 3 in. I'm using my DualShock controller that I use for most of my gaming. And let's see if this thing still works. Yes, I didn't kill it. Just make sure Tekken loads up here and that I can press a button on the controller. 1 sec, grab that. That's good. Got sound. Okay, do we still have our memory card working? Card load. Load okay. Alright, success. Let's go back to our B camera. Alright, so we got our soaped up components here, the membranes and buttons. We're going to do a little bit of cleaning, see if we can fix that D-pad. That thing is busted to shit. Look at all this gunk. I'm going to show you. It's still on there, but you wouldn't have been able to see it very well on the B camera. Look at that crap in and around that D-pad. Look how utterly freaking busted that thing is. Where's the other half? Let's see. Where is it? Where are you at? There it is. Oh, I bumped the camera. I'm not used to doing this. Okay. Yeah, that's how it goes together. Look at the gunk and the filth muck that's just built up in there. Let's see if we can get that off and then see if we can glue this thing back together. I might just clean all of these little button bits right now. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Some paper towel down. And found this little cuticle brush, whatever the hell it is. A scrubbing brush for your nails. I don't know. We're going to see if we can get this schmutz off of here. Yeah. Flakes right off. It's disgusting, but it does come off. Gross, gross. I'm gonna zoom in on this a bit, see if I can do this without... Sorry, I know this is amateur hour, but just want to see if I can get this stuff off of here, because it's in there pretty good. I don't want to disturb the broken plastic part too much, because I want there to be as much material there to adhere to as possible, but I do got to get this gunk out. I'm just using the very, very, very tip of these bristles to kind of excavate this crap out of here. My kid will never know that this was broken. Till later when I tell him. Much later. But on the bright side, this thing will be nice and shiny and new looking when he pulls it out of the wrapping in just a few days. Okay, I think that's all the material on this half. Let's give it a little rinsey poo. Set that aside. Okay, let's tackle this other part. Get all the schmutz off of that. Look at that. That is just disgusting. Like that, this is what happens to the inside of your controllers, gang. Turn into a skin cell infested Cheeto dust combined bacteria farm. And I am really going to disinfect this tabletop once I'm done, because this is just gross. Again, I'm being super gentle with this plastic because it's pretty old, about as half as old as I am, and I break easy, so I wouldn't want this to meet some sort of terrible fate. Then have to locate and shell out for another PS1 controller. Although I must admit that this one with that plug on it, it's kind of disappointing. I wish I had seen that. But whatever. We've cracked the seal. We've let out the purple smoke, the magic smoke now. So can't go back. Can't take it back. We can't return. We must keep going forward. So, and I would have never known that this thing was busted had I not opened it up and taken a look. I think that's pretty much all the schmutz. A tiny little bit that wants to hang on right here. Right there. On these edges. So another reason for cleaning out D-pads like this is so that they are as responsive as possible when you're depressing them. Get that little rinse. My warm soapy water is now cold soapy water too, so let's see. It looks a lot better. A lot better. Okay, and I'll go over that with a cotton bud, cotton swab, whatever, wherever you're from and whatever you want to call it. There's still some schmutz on the side of this D-pad button. Would you call that a nodule? Would you call it a, what would you call these? Alright. 100 hundy. Let's get it to hundy po. Okay. Hundy P? Hundy P. That's how the cool kids say it, right? Alright. Good enough. Rinse, rinse. Set that aside. Okay, let's see if we can tackle some of these buttons. I'm not going to talk through this part because it's more of the same, but just get all the schmutz off the side. Anything that might stop the button from pressing down easily. Okay, those look pretty good. Let's see. Let's grab these trigger and shoulder buttons next. Okay, so that's all the buttons. We've got these little assembly bits as well. We'll just kind of give them a quick excavation. I like that word for this, digging through the filth and muck. Okay, just quick little bang up job on those guys. Wonder if the right one is dirtier than the left one or vice versa. Kind of interesting. Think about which shoulder buttons you use more. Alright, and we've got this very delicate D-ports orientation clip. So I'm just going to very carefully, so as not to break anything else, go around this like that. And not that I really care about it. Just so long as it sits back in correctly, that's all I really care about. And these little tiny plastic brackets as well. Not really too overly concerned about them. As long as the schmutz is off, that's all that matters. And I don't break them. Okay, that's that. Let's clean up this area a little bit and then we'll move on to the membranes. Getting all that skin cell material. Smear that all over the table. Gross. Okay. I feel a tiny bit better, though not much, about the state of this table now. Let's just back off on this a bit. Actually, we'll leave it zoomed in for the membranes. Okay. So let's see what we got here. We have a considerable amount of gunk in and around here. Let's get that cleaned up and make sure there's no large deposits of crap in this membrane. And these you want to be careful with as well. They're very old and very thin rubber, so you don't want them tearing on you. Depressing these, I can feel that some of the springiness has returned, because I noticed that the button, well, that one's still a little weak, but I don't forget who it was, but I was watching a YouTuber. I watch all kinds of tech YouTubers who like to do retro gaming mods and stuff like that, but they said if these aren't as springy as they used to be, just throw them in a pot of boiling water for, you know, just 30 seconds or more, or around 30 seconds, and that'll kind of rejuvenate the rubber, kind of affect its chemical properties. I don't know what I'm saying, but oh yeah, the start and the select are just disgusting. Like, so much gunk in there. I'm gonna get the brush on this. It's because that's in there a lot. A lot. So much grossness in there right now. Okay. I don't know which audio I'm going to use. I know this is kind of camera talk, but I don't know how much audio I'm going to use from the mobile camera, this one, or from the microphone that's sitting about 1.5 feet away, because you can never quite tell until you're into the editing process what you're going to do. I'm going to get rid of this extremely dirty, as you can see, full of debris water. Gross. Be right back. Okay, now that we've done that, let's move this out a bit, because we're going to move on to something that's not quite as... That's the wrong way. Rizzo, what are you doing? Okay, so we're going to move on to something that's not quite as tiny, like the housing for the controller. So zoom out and just dry off these membranes a bit, because we're going to also clean up these contacts on the back with a method that I just learned seeing someone else tear down one of these controllers before I started this, which I always do recommend research before making a video so you don't have too many errors to apologize for later. Plus, it's always good to pass on good information and not crap, which I strive to do each and every time I make a video. Strive to. Usually get there. Alright, just getting the excess moisture off of these so that they dry a little bit quicker. Just palpating this membrane. Try and pull as much of that out of there as possible. They're alright. I cleaned up okay. This thing was absolutely disgusting, and I'm hoping that it's in a lot better shape now than it was. Again, I'm not trying to rip this, but I am trying to get the moisture out. Now, let's move on to the PlayStation housing, the housing of the controller, I should say. And let's see what kind of gunk is stuck on that crap. I'll be right back. Alright, as you can see here, our water, it is still soapy, but it is no longer warm. Let's get our handy agitator out and let's see what we can do with this thing. Okay, so as you may be able to see, there's lots of dead skin built up in there. Let's see if we can get that out. Oh yeah, coming out of there nice. that. Look at the difference. And just a little bit of scrubbing and some soapy warm water, which is, I guess, still kind of lukewarm. Those things we're going to clean out. We're going to jam a Q-tip down in there. But I did notice that there's some discoloration here from where it's been set down and picked up multiple times. Hopefully some of that will come off in this process, so it looks a little nicer. I don't know if you can really see it or not, but yeah, there's a bit of a discoloration right in there. See if we can scrape that off a bit. Yeah, it does look a lot better. Wow, there's a big difference there. I'm gonna hit this side again. Just, you know, pulling some of that crud has just been etched into the plastic. Now you see all the way around the edge of this thing, this seam, you see some gunk in there. Let's get that out next. Nothing like the feeling of playing a game using a nice, shiny, clean feeling controller. That's kind of what I want to pass on when he holds this thing in his hand for the first time. Just hit all these little seams, like so. And let's see if we can get some of this schmutz off the outside too, and out of these little trigger button holes. And yes, I have the PCB from this far away from all this liquid that's spraying around. The only thing close by that could be affected is the screws in the container over here. Alright, so I think that is pretty gunk free now. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at that seam. Nothing wrong with that seam. There's no gunk in it anymore. There's no dead skin or Cheeto dust or anything. And last thing we're going to do is grab a Q-tip. And this is going to be the gross part. You ready for the gross part? See what the color of this thing is when we pull it out. That's what he said. Gross. Well, not too bad. You can see some yellow discoloration there a little bit. That one wasn't bad. Perhaps the soap and hot water already nabbed most of that for me. That one's a little yellower. Ugh. Let's just touch this one again. Okay, let's grab a new one. Let's do this. This one's going to be gross. I have a feeling. And I hope I don't lose the cotton. Yeah, look at that. Look at it. Look. Nasty. Get whatever's left in that one. Whoop. Oh well, I was done with that anyway. Moving on. I'll just do the rest of these real quick. Gross. Gross. It's like you stuck it in your ear after not having a shower for 5 days. That's gross. How disturbing. That one wasn't bad. Okay. So I think we've got... Just double check this one. I think we've gotten all the sin. Oh, I don't even want to think of what else was done after or before or after this PlayStation controller was picked up by its previous owner. There we go. Pretty damn clean. Let's put this back in the water for now. Let anything else that might still be stuck on there come off. And this face plate, or this face end of the controller, pretty gross too. Look at that start and select button. You can see the gunk in there, and in the D-pad, and in these button spots. Let's take care of that quickly. I won't spend too much time talking about this. Okay. That's looking pretty goddamn not too bad. A tiny bit left in there. Alright, move on to the D-pad. Little bits stuck in these little triangles and recessed parts of the molding. Get that all out of there. Anything around the little raised L and R symbols. This little notch at the top here. Anywhere that finger cheese could live. Some lovely filth in there. And I can feel that this plastic is very fragile and old. Like when it's all together, it feels solid like a PlayStation controller should, you know what I mean? But when it's in half like this and doesn't have the mechanical benefit, or as some people would say, doesn't have the purchase that the assembled form of it does, then feels quite flimsy. Look at all of that. That is just disgusting. Let's get that out of there as best we can. Some of that might be staining. I don't know. Definitely where the most activity for skin cells has been. I want you to think about this, guys. The next time you pick up your controller at home, put your thumb on that D-pad about what is just on the other side of that plastic. Gross. It's much better. Still got a little bit to go. Okay, let's hit it from this angle. That's what he said. Get in all around these little D-pad access areas here. I'm just making up new terminology as I go. This is why you guys tune in. Alright. Making sure there is no residual disgusting skin anywhere in any of these little crevice areas. And we will wipe it down with a disinfectant wipe as well, just to make sure. I'm just doing a quick inspection. I'm going to do these little seams along the edge, counterpart for that other grossness we already cleaned up. Get that out of there. Get that the hell out of there. Get the hell out of my controller. Out of my kid's controller. Get out. Damon's out. Let's hit it from this side. I might have done this already, I can't remember, but that looks like a million times better. Like, looks so good. So shiny. I wish the lighting was better, but let's put this back in here. Look at that. PlayStation shell together without any innards. Alright, enough fooling around. I'll be right back. Okay, so I think I'm going to move on to the last part of this video before reassembly. And that is going to be fixing that broken D-pad. So I'll grab the crazy glue. Crazy glue. Alright, well let's see if we can get all the moisture off that D-pad. See if we can get a good contact going there. We'll let it cure along with the rest of the stuff air drying. And then tomorrow I will resume the process by putting it back together once everything's had time to fully air dry and drip dry. We can do this part right now, so let's do it. Now you're gonna get to see how shaky my hands really are. Alright. Which one's open? That one. Alright, hopefully I don't bond my fingers together trying to do this. Now I'll zoom in a little bit more for you guys before I get my hands busy. Okay, that should be good. Good and shaky. It's hard to see with all the glare. The harder you hold something, the more your hands shake, right? Okay. I think we got some pretty decent coverage there. This is just for my peace of mind anyways, because it really doesn't do anything mechanically, perhaps other than stopping it from breaking even more. So we're just going to hold this for a good minute. I don't feel any stickiness on my fingers, so this should do it. Time lapse. There was some residual water in there, but that is back together. I'm just going to set this on a paper towel to let that water finish dripping out from the crevices inside. Put this thing back in here. Alright, and we'll come back to this tomorrow. Probably different lighting, probably different camera, probably different audio. You'll love it.